Lebanon over there, you got Lebanon over there, you got Lebanon. You see the Naphtali Ridge comes and then it drops down and then there's a hill with some houses on it. That's Kalaya, that's in South Lebanon. And then there is one more Israeli town where you see that tower, that's Metula. But then beyond this, all this ridge right here, this is, the ridge is called Marj, that's Arabic for ridge. And Ayun, remember Ayun, one of the sources for the Jordan River, Marj Ayun. That's the name of that village right there, South Lebanese village. That used to be totally Christian, a totally Christian village. Now it's totally Hezbollah.
Oh.
Now that happened when Israel pulled out of South Lebanon in May of 2000. And I was up here witnessing the whole thing. The army went out in a day. I mean, they flashed out of South Lebanon after having been there since 1982. And they brought 5,000 Lebanese, South Lebanese Christians, mainly Christians, with them. And they're living in Tiberias and in various places. And they have problems because, you know, they've left their land, so to speak. But up here, before 2000, you had Pat Robertson, Middle East TV. Pat Robertson was broadcasting from Lebanon.
Wow.
They had the Voice of Hope, the Christian radio station. And the General Haddad was a born-again Christian, a Lebanese born-again Christian. He, South Lebanese, and he allowed this TV station to be built and the radio station. So the entire Galilee was being blanketed with Christian TV and radio. And there was a lot of activity in Marj Ayun and in other South Lebanese villages with the gospel, with all kinds of ministries, really great ministries were here in South Lebanon. And it was looking really promising. And even Ariel Sharon had a vision that if the Christian party could come into power in Lebanon and be the dominant party, then Israel could sign a peace treaty with Lebanon. But what happened was, in 1982, Sharon was up in Beirut, and there was this very tragic thing that happened in the Palestinian camps. The Phalange, the South Lebanese Phalange, went in and just massacred Palestinians, and of course that shifted the whole, position of the media and, whole world view against, and they blamed the whole thing on the Israeli army and on Sharon and on Menachem Begin, and they all had to resign, and it was a mess. Anyway, that was kind of like the beginning of our sorrows.
Yeah.
But Sharon, he had this vision to do this. So anyway, the whole thing has just gone backwards. And Hezbollah at the time was just a tiny party. And since that time it has grown and grown and grown. Of course it's all totally Iranian backed. And they're getting all their support from Iran. And now they've entrenched themselves. When the South Lebanese army came out with Israel, they left all these vacant places, and guess what? Hezbollah moved in, took them over.
Is that spiritual or not?
And not only that, but they've done the same thing that they're doing in Gaza, and that is digging these deep tunnels and bunkers underneath the houses, private homes, and they're just stocked with rockets, all aimed for Israel. Okay, so that's the darker picture. The lighter picture is we have the scriptures. And the scriptures say that the northern border of the promised land goes for all of Lebanon, all the way up to Levo Hamat, which is way north of Lebanon. So, and east, it means all the Hermon range. That means the entire Mount Hermon and Damascus, and east, all the way to what they call Jebel Druze. And so it's a huge, major chunk of land. So as believers, to take the zealot position that we're going to get this land on our own, is absolutely absurd, but it is going to be the Lord who does it.
Amen.
And so whenever I bring a group up here like yours, I always want to encourage you to pray for the borders of the Promised Land.
Amen.
And not only that, but pray for the Lebanese people, because you know, they're not lost, and the Christians are having a really rough time in Lebanon, so you need to pray for them. Even the Maronites and everybody. And that one day.
This little town right here, the white buildings, what does that
Okay,
mean?
now that is a Syrian Alawite village called Rajar. And that was in Syria. You see this dirt road right here?
Mm-hmm.
This used to be the patrol road for the Israelis before 1967, and beyond that, this whole area is called Shaba Farms. And this was in Syria, and that village was in Syria. It's an Alawite village. After 1967, it became an Israeli Syrian Alawite village.
Okay.
Now, with the negotiations with the UN, Israel has cut a deal with the UN, not with Lebanon, but with the UN, for a border, quote unquote. And that border runs along the base of Hermon, and it comes right over, it goes right through the middle of Hajar. Rajar sits right on the Hatzbani River. You remember seeing the Hatzbani. So probably the whole village is going to go into Lebanon. That's what it looks like, but I don't think they're too happy about it, because they really had it pretty good under Israel. I remember going into the village, and they have bed and breakfast and all kinds of things for tourism. So it's they're in a very precarious position right now. Now, early warning stations, Israeli early warning stations. Look up on the hill there. This is like the foothills of Mount Hermon. And so we have a number of positions, Israeli positions, that are guarding and looking over into South Lebanon all the way. They can see up the Bekaa Valley, which is really important because Hezbollah has all their positions there, and they're able to see all kinds of activity from up there. So those are very, very important positions for Israel. Later on today, we'll see the top Israeli position on Mount Hermon.
We need to pray here.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to